Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at TEMI. TEMI is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. Each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry. Now, today, we're lucky enough to have an amazing guest joining us, Richie Bachala, who is Director of Data Engineering and Solutions Architecture at Yugabyte. Hello, Richie. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Barry. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. How are you doing today?
Wonderful, man. It's a beautiful day today.
Perfect. Good. So firstly, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. We really do appreciate it. And the first question, as always, is can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
I am Richie Bachala. I currently serve a lot of our enterprise customers who are predominantly in retail and financial services industries here at Yugabyte, and have been also helping in aiding build our partner ecosystem with the three major CSPs, Google, AWS, and Microsoft, for the last year or so, and also have build strategic integrations with a few system integrators as well. Got about 20 years of experience leading high-performing, diverse data teams, passionate about helping customers succeed by helping them build database as a service platforms within their enterprises to support their mission-critical apps. That's primarily what my responsibilities have been.
So you mentioned a database as a service there, DBaaS. Could you just explain it to us, what it actually entails?
Okay, absolutely. Actually, before Yugabyte, I was at an enterprise called Sherwin-Williams, the biggest paint company in the world, where I actually focused in a few more industries besides retail and supply chain. My primary responsibilities when I left Sherwin was to provide data as a service that was easy to consume, secure, and was elastic for our global users of tens of thousands of global users. And from there, when I got to Yugabyte, we started focusing heavily on database as a service, and because we are a product company. So the way I would say what from an enterprise perspective, what database as a service entails is about 5 main bullet points. There are controls. It helps an enterprise have controls around scalability, the ability to scale both horizontally or vertically in terms of when your capacity increases, are you able to add more compute nodes on, horizontally, and vertically, are you able to add bigger compute nodes of the same size of the same thing instead of adding more, but you are adding bigger boxes. And then the second one is about resilience. What does it mean for your system to never be down, right? That could only be accomplished by distributed systems to actually build a never down of high availability systems, resilience. And the third one is about managed services, right? What does your day-to operations look like? And are your day-to operations accounted for? How are you handling routine maintenance tasks such as backups, updates, security, critical patches, freeing up users on a lot of admin-related activity that goes around it. And then the fourth bullet there would be about high availability and reliability, right? How often are you offering built-in features that are automated and automated for failovers, automated for replications, and what does that look like for your enterprise? And then lastly would be security, right? You cannot have any service in an enterprise without security being talked about, and it has to be core tenant. And for security, how do you implement robust security measures to protect your data from authorized and unauthorized users, and also the compliance that comes with it? But not just the 5, but there's also a bonus, responsibility that we bring into the picture, which is not primarily for the enterprises, but it helps a product company like us, right? It is about value engineering. How do we show value in having these COEs built within an enterprise, and how do you typically show the cost that you are spending to have these COEs thrive, and how do you show that value back to your executives? And there's a framework that we build where We harness metrics around productivity, but how are your resilience numbers going up, your efficiency numbers going up because of a said framework like this. So that, in a nutshell, entitles a lot about DBaaS, I would say.
And since we're talking about this and retail, can you just share your experiences working with retail enterprises, whether in e-commerce or not, and just what challenges you aided in solving for the enterprise?
Okay, using DBaaS, I'm assuming, right? So I got plenty of experience with retail. In fact, Sherwin is nobody knows, but then we are one of the largest retailers here in North America. We have over 5,000 stores just in North America alone, and then globally we have a lot more thousands of stores with a lot of acquisitions. A lot of the data comes to into our core system of record systems like ERP systems from POS systems and other third-party systems that are integrated. Similarly, at Yugabyte, did serve two largest retailers like Walmart and Kroger for a lot of their enterprise needs for data needs using databases. I don't want to go into the specifics of what we've done for them, but then I do want to share one story where, I can't really name the retailer, but this is one of the large Fortune 100 retailers that we have here in the US and in the world too. When Texas had that snowstorm, right? When Texas froze, one of their data centers that they had locally in Texas completely lost power and then went off the network, and there was no means to get connected to the data that's available. So Yugabyte being a distributed database, which means you have live copies, replicated copies of your data in all your your 3 data center architecture that this particular retailer had. Had 2 other copies. If it wasn't for Yugabyte, they would have had a long, downtime. And what happened with Yugabyte being the core system of record database for this said application, when Texas did froze, they were able to pivot to their other data center that was on the West Coast, and then the total recovery was under 3 seconds. So that is what about resilience that we had a chance to provide. And we have a lot of great stories like that. And this is, an e-commerce application which required live inventory numbers and which had a direct implication to their bottom line, a revenue impacting mission critical application. So imagine having them be down for longer means they're actually losing dollars. So having that quick failover in a way, right? With high resiliency we provide enterprises for with a never down architecture like that.
You have worked for lots of large enterprises. So let's take Sherwin, for example. So what made you decide to move to a SaaS-based product company? And can you expand on that a little bit, please?
I've been with an enterprise company for about a decade, and before that, I was in consulting and did a little bit of product development a long time ago. But after working a decade at an enterprise company as a customer and as an early adopter of many SaaS and IaaS products, my desire actually was to work next for a tech company, a core product company. I wanted a chance to help develop data products that were innovative and that were improving the quality of engineers, not just app engineers, but data engineers, by meeting their unmet and unarticulated needs, right? So we talk a lot about these day 2 operations. Those are all, deemed to be as the needed necessary for the engineers to do. So my heart was to, help aid in building products that would, meet those needs. And it has always been databases ever since, early days at Oracle, normalized the databases using PLC, writing lots of PLC code until date, and then I moved from OLTP databases back in the day for ERP systems to now OLAP using a lot of data warehouses at Sherwin, and then I decided to go back to the core databases. So I wanted to work for a database company with a clearly defined mission, purpose that upheld. Most importantly for me was highest ethical standard, right? Because product companies, they come a dime a dozen, and then when it comes to features, there have been compromising ones. But anyways, I believe Yugabyte checked all the boxes, and I'm a firm believer in the mission about providing a distributed database that would really serve mission critical apps with that level of integrity, and the products and services that we provide our customers, speak bounds.
And just can you talk about like what unique insights or predictions there will be for 2024, 2025 for data and databases, and whether that applies to North America or globally, or whether they're different entities and how you treat them differently?
Oh, great. Great question. I think we all hear and talk about AI now for the last, at least for the last year. So I think there's going to be a massive advent of Gen AI, and it is a great opportunity for businesses that are quick to adopt. I think in 2024 and this year, the major impact on the world of data infrastructure, particularly, will AI will have a lot of influence. I see a massive upward, what do you call? Incremental increase in developer productivity with AI embedded features, right? Developer productivity goes up, which means feature development velocity increases by a lot. That's a pretty standard prediction. And then I think there will be a huge reduction and emphasis on admin task related workforce efficiencies, which is also what we've been focusing on at Yugabyte, right? Our console helps you with a lot of that maintenance related, admin related tasks efficiencies, and that's where I see Gen AI to produce to be a blessing. Functionality wise, I think it is going to be. I think enterprises right now are considering it as table stakes to make sure that they have a plan as where they want to invest for Gen AI capabilities and where those efficiencies are going to be. It's also going to be economically important, right, for your investors, for the C-suite, and for stakeholders to understand that you have a strategy where you are going to use this set new technology that's out there.
So when you say Gen AI, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, using these fine-tuned large language models, when the adoption of them as integrated services in your core product, right? If you're a database product, are you helping your database engineers write easier code? Are there prompts coming up? So are you able to fulfill that? Microsoft has Copilot as part of their productivity stack in all of their service and enabled. Where are you able to enable, right? I think that certainly is where I see the productivity go up, and also there's some ill effects too that we have to be aware of, but that's a different topic.
What are the negative effects and impacts of AI? Or are there any effects that are negative?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there is lots of doomsday stories out there that everyone is worried about. But I think it's true, though. I think it is a responsibility of enterprises and also product companies as they embrace what's possible, right? I mean, the ill effects right now are job losses, right? As productivity goes up, your requirements for headcounts certainly reduce. This has been an issue for the last 5 years, at least, that we know of. Deep fakes have been there around a long time. And also there is a deep divide with, companies that are adopting AI versus the companies that are not, right? If you're a laggard, your time to market reduces by a lot, and that becomes quite a challenge as this gap continues to grow. So, and then lastly, I think governing is going to become very, very important, right? I think there have been, a couple of great acts passed, and I think the one good thing is the CHIPS Act that was passed in 2022 to bring manufacturing jobs back into the United States. I think that's a great thing, but we're not quite sure the equation of supply and demand, how it's going to impact. Not quite sure about the ethical guardrails that needs to go around, other regulations that needs to be put in place. So I think there's still a lot of evolution that needs to happen naturally, and it will. So, but we have to be cautiously moving forward with what's available.
So when we look at AI adoption, Do you see it, or how do you see it influencing databases generally?
Mm. Well, I guess with AI or not, I think going back to what we were talking about, DBaaS, right? Database as a service adoption is going to go way up, and I'll share one data point from last year. I was at the AWS Summit, and during the keynote, Swami mentioned that AWS's growth is the highest in their data services. And one of their biggest data service is AWS Aurora database, Aurora DB. And that has about over 10x growth since 2017, year over year. So year over year, 10x growth. And just to paint the picture, AWS has over 2,000 plus services. 2,000 plus services. And if you see the revenue numbers that were brought in by their databases that they have like about a dozen different database services offerings, and for that are custom built for certain workloads. And if you see those numbers, the massive growth towards Aurora is a testament that this is where the majority of the influx of investments will come in, because that's where enterprises or customers require help. So going back to that level of prediction, right? It goes back to adoption of DBaaS in enterprises will become very, very common, and it will be open source will be embraced a lot more in these conversations, because there's a lot of open source products out there, including Postgres, which is the most utilized database. I mean, not everybody would require an expensive database out there, but with a lot of licensing, unless it is mission critical or a tier 0, tier 1 app. But otherwise, a lot of open source adoption in the data tier will continue to rise, and you see that with Postgres, right? It's at an all-time high, and every cloud vendor or every hyperscaler is investing massively into enabling their database offerings more in line with Postgres. And Yugabyte has been a Postgres compatible database from day one, and we have Postgres parity, which is the highest level of Postgres compatibility possible in the marketplace. So anyways, there'll continue to be a surge. DBaaS will shape 2024 as one of the core offerings in enterprises.
And you mentioned the cloud there. So how important do you think that is going to be in the future, especially in relationship to databases?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, cloud is a must, right? At this point, every enterprise has a cloud, not just one. Most of them have all three, right? Majority of them have all three. So I keep saying this quote. I say cloud is a must, but hybrid is inevitable, because people will end up having more than one cloud vendor. So there are conversations, not just conversations, there are massive implementations of solutions where hybrid architectures between cross-cloud and multi-cloud offerings are being built and implemented over and over again. It is, for multiple reasons, right? You don't want to be logged into a said vendor, said CSP, or also you have to reduce the risk that comes with it. When it comes to your, IP, you can't be logged in. And if there is better innovation by another cloud vendor, you should be able to adopt those innovations. So you should be able to have few different few different arrows in your quiver. So that's going to be essentially important. And then within the same realm, you will see less renting, right? Meaning you will see a lot more private cloud offerings popping up now. I mean, a lot of enterprises are going back to investing into building their own private cloud, their own private data centers. There was a dip, but then it comes back, because when it comes to your core enterprise IP, people are being a little bit less risk tolerant, right? And they want to be able to have full control. And in such situations, private cloud is also becoming an option now of late. And co-location based implementations are also quite often being popping up as options, and implementations around that surrounding is certainly up on the rise too. I guess that would be the third prediction or third insight, if you say.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And it's really insightful that you say that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, we are coming towards the end of the session, so I just want to thank you so much again for taking time out of your day to speak with us. We really do appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed your time with us as well.
Thank you, Barry. Thanks for having me. It was all it's a fun conversation. Have a great day.
No problem. That was Richie Bachala, who is Director of Data Engineering and Solutions Architecture at Yugabyte.